Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio.
If you're just tuning in, this is NBC's Sheila Mack Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today I would like to introduce Love in Times of War. This is a unique listening experience. It was created and produced during COVID by James, Keith Norman, and Beck Norman, two creative entrepreneurs. This remarkable album tells the story of how war affects two generations of families, and to quote one line from the story, it's about heartbreak and resilience. And I'm so honored that they have asked if I would like to be the first to play this on national radio. Here's the excerpt.
Spring is innocence, a time of rebirth, the perennial season of hope when all things seem possible. Spring is a time of being present, yet permissibly absent, a passport to daydreams. It is savored in measured teaspoons by the old and ravenously guzzled from endless decanters by the young. A young woman, just 19 years of age, with windswept hair the color of dark earth, finds a small rock by the side of the creek to sit upon and take her fill. If only every day of the year could echo this April day, the sun laughing on the water, the sky so beautiful, the color of a robin's egg. Overhead, a wedding veil, spun from diaphanous clouds, reveals itself in the sky. A row of Queen Anne's lace that borders the water speaks of gowns and elegant evenings to come. The young woman unfastens the cover of her diary and daydreams. At 19, the young woman can also see love. She spots it so clearly, even in a town square, in a parade march, in the face of a young man so dashing in his regimental uniform, who looked her way for just a moment, but smartly turned his head forward again and continued on. But he is also 19, and he too can see love, and so determined to come back to find her. Since that day, the two of them, inseparable, spending countless hours in the square and in cafes before he must leave for the battlefront. Today, now, she is taking him to where she feels best and where love can grow. At 19, her body can embrace love completely, intimately. The sights and sounds of a summer forest, alive and bursting, pale in comparison to the overwhelming yearning in her heart. She is with the dashing young man whose eyes are as blue as the robin's egg sky she gazed up at when she dreamt of such a day. And that man has touched her soul. "Will we marry?" she asks him. "One day," he answers, "when I come back from war, when times are better and the world is safer, when we can start a family, that's when we will marry." And so the young woman lies back in her lover's arms and dreams of that day. Love at 19 is complicated in a time of war. Ethos and circumstance jostle for position. Prayer is needed. Prayer for safe returns and for safe arrivals. The young woman's body feels different now, and yet is comforted by a growing warmth. She prays that when the dashing young man returns home from war, his arms will be strong enough to embrace one more.
All right, so that was just an example of part of this incredible novella. So it is a musical and story time novella, and you can hear the rest when you tune in to Love in Times of War, streaming now on Spotify, Apple Music, and more. So just look up, Google Love in Times of War. All right. So we have been listening to an excerpt from the stirring musical novella Love in Times of War from James Keith Norman and Beck Norman, a collection of 14 beautiful instrumentals and 14 narrations. You can hear the full album on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you stream your music. That's Love in Times of War. This is Sheila Mack. Thank you again for tuning in, and I have some homework for you. So go and get your copy of the new Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. It is now on Amazon, Audible, Kindle, and all major bookstores. And get ready to tune in daily as I share the Business Leader Reboot. So that is starting a business, side business, or extra income. I don't care if you're starting from zero, rebooting, starting over completely. We are going to go through the steps over this year slowly together to rebuild, reboot, and reinvent your business and personal life, or your career and personal life on your terms. And I will also be sharing about investing in properties and how to get some passive income going this year as well. So stay tuned. And the reminder for the day, the universe is always unfolding for your highest and best good. This is NBC's Sheila Mack Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and I have some special shares today. We have had a wonderful listen to Love in Times of War, and we're going through some interesting times right now, and I send prayers and blessings for peace to all involved. And I think about in our life and this show, in our lifetime, we have experienced so many ups and downs. And if there's a situation going on at your house, it is a time. No matter what's going on our planet right now, there's always a chance and an opportunity to rebuild, reinvent, and recreate life on your terms, to bring about this love and light. And it starts really in your home, in creating the life that you desire. Sometimes we hit a rock bottom and we go through some tough times in life. The longer we live, the longer you and I live, the longer we have chances of running into ups and downs. And it's really in how we pick ourselves up, dust ourselves up and off, and get back on track that makes all the difference. So I'd like to spend the rest of this time with lifestyle design. This is a talk I share. And with lifestyle design, if you're not driving, you may want to grab a piece of paper to take some notes. This is a great way if you're ready to redesign life or just restructure and recreate things on your terms. This is a great way to get started. Take a listen. Lifestyle design. This chapter is going to look a little different than the other chapters. Instead of starting out with a rock bottom moment and ending with that person's moment of empowerment, we are going to compare the lives of two women. The life of Anne. Anne was very athletic growing up. As a young adult, she was active and healthy and loved to exercise. She helped rescue animals, volunteering at the local shelter to share her love with those animals. Then she got married and had kids. Anne gave up a lot of her passions and the things that made her happy in order to please everybody else. Her husband is allergic to animal dander, so she couldn't have pets at home, and she gradually stopped going to the shelter too. She didn't stay as active as she'd been when she was single. She said yes to all her friends, doing anything they asked her to. She cared for a lot of people, but she didn't set boundaries. Anne's days were long and busy, full, but not fulfilling. Anne had a vision of how she wanted her life to look, but she woke up one day and realized that she was living a very different life. Eventually, Anne's health failed. She developed many health issues because she had stopped eating healthy foods, exercising, and taking time to rest her mind. She spent a lot of money on health care instead of spending time staying healthy. When she really needed people to help her, she didn't know how to ask. Some of her friends had more boundaries than Anne, so they said no to her requests, even though in the past she had helped them move or with accounting or babysitting. People weren't willing to give as much as she had, so she was at a loss. And with some of the people in her life who did want to reciprocate, Anne wasn't able to be vulnerable or gracious enough to receive. Anne is at the point of retiring from a job she doesn't love, and she's physically and financially unable to keep up with her friends and family. She sees her friends doing work they're passionate about and talented at, and it affects her self-worth when she compares her life to theirs. She feels stuck, upset, and resentful, and she's angry with herself for letting life slip by. Anne thought she was doing the right things. She was a good student, a good daughter and sibling, the one who didn't need so much attention. She was taught to put everybody else first, and she's done an amazing job of teaching everybody else to treat her like a doormat. She never filled up her own self, and now she has a very painful void in her life. The life of Barbara. Barbara has designed her life and lives it by her design. She has still done things for other people, but she follows her own definition of happiness and success. Interesting things happened in her childhood, but at some point, she decided that she was going to live life on her terms. Barbara made a lot of mistakes. She tried to live her passion 3 or 4 different times in different ways. It didn't work out at first, but she was determined. At first, she wasn't even sure what that looked like, but she knew it would involve art, dance, and educating children. As it unfolded, she started teaching children to read and created a story time program. Looking back, she laughs about her ups and downs. The determination to live her life and work around her passion and her gifts was considered non-traditional, so she experienced some bumps that made her strong and resilient. Barbara kept solid rituals, routines, and boundaries in place. She eats healthy foods and takes care of herself so she can help other people too. She made her self-care a priority, knowing that she was modeling that for her children. Barbara and Anne are the same age, but Barbara looks much younger because she's healthier and happier. She wakes up in the morning and is excited to go to work. When Barbara looks back at her life so far, she's at peace. She knows she's done her highest good. No part of her feels that she wasted time on things that didn't align with her values. She lives exactly the life she was supposed to, the life she chooses. And she's excited for whatever comes next. You only get one. Anne has lived her whole life based on what other people wanted, whereas Barbara has lived life for herself. And it's still full of love and other people. Which life would you choose? Maybe you choose a little of each. These are extreme examples, so maybe you choose neither. The point is that it's your life and you get to choose what it looks like. Anne didn't choose to design her own life, but it's not too late. It's not over for her. It doesn't matter what your age is. Until you're not here anymore, you can still make a change. The rest of your life can become the best part of your life. All the decisions you make have an impact on your future, on your whole life. They build upon each other. If you don't decide how you're going to live your life, somebody else is going to decide for you, and most people are happy to do that. They're happy to sell you the wrong house so they can make a commission. They're happy to put you in a job you don't like for less pay so you do all the work. But if you're not happy, it's not a blessing. I'm not a Christian Scientist, but Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of Christian Science movement, said, "Whatever blesses one, blesses all." If you're not happy, or if you're not living your essence, your truth, your life, it's hard for you to send happiness to other people in your life. But when you are happy and using your talents and gifts, there's no competition. There's no ego. You're just connected to everything and everybody in love, and it's beautiful. Everyone has that beauty in them, in the way they're here and who they are. We're all amazing, talented, beautiful, incredible people in our own right. When we try to shift and fit into a mold of who we believe we're supposed to be, the adult who never plays, who goes to work and takes on debt to buy a house, it kills our souls. Every day we lose sight of who we really are. How can you be happy when the most important parts of you are hidden or quieted because you followed somebody else's rules? How many people have felt like they had to go to school to become a doctor or a lawyer just because their parents wanted them to? And they're miserable. If they were living their truth, they would be happy, and that's worth even more than money. That allows them to attract the right peer group and a partner who's aligned with their truth. It may sound obvious, but when you're not living your truth, you're living a lie. When that's the case, you may say that you want something, but it doesn't align with you because it's not real. And you can't fake a life and a lie for long. The real you, the beautiful, amazing essence of you, is going to escape every time. Free your soul. It's time to free your soul. Start by figuring out your temperament, talents, and what you really love. You can refer back to the reboot activity in Chapter 6 to get started. There are surveys and tests you can take, but you have to be honest with your answers, so honest it may even hurt other people's feelings, like the parents who always dreamed of you becoming a doctor while you wanted to be a cruise ship comedian. Doing this will free your soul to go be who you're really supposed to be. And when you are living the life you're supposed to, you're going to help people in your own way. You're going to live your purpose because that's just who you are. When you're fully living, you're able to fully contribute to society. Although you're doing more self-care, although you're just living your truth and your essence on your terms, you're going to serve far more people. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. Finding your truth and designing your life based on that truth and your passion serves a higher purpose and a higher good. It serves humanity far more than doing what you or others believe you're supposed to do. So it's actually the least self-centric thing you could ever do. Sheila's story. When my kids were old enough to go to school, and I was making cash flow from renting out the buildings my stores were in, I decided I wanted to be more involved. I wanted to be there with my children. I'd taught the kids at the store, I'd led classes on safety and training, so I decided to get a teaching certificate to teach in private schools, mostly creative, art-centered schools such as Montessori and Waldorf. It was important to me that they were in this environment that featured learning through story, music, art, and their imaginations. I wanted them to learn languages, handwork, gardening, woodwork, and living through the history of different world cultures instead of just reading about them in textbooks. These private schools emphasize feelings and emotions, and the teachers are empowered to modify learning for each child. This unique standard of education was what I wanted for all my kids, and I wanted to be there too. I had 3 children of my own and 3 foster kids. That adds up to a big tuition cost, but as a teacher, my children would get to go to the school where I taught for free or at a reduced rate. As a teacher, I felt like I got paid to have fun. I even started a tutoring program at my house, so I made a huge career shift from owning and operating stores to teaching, but I still showed up as myself. I was still me, using my capabilities and talents, and I was emotionally ready to make that shift. I wanted to have as much time with my children as I could and be involved in their lives. The fact that I was being paid to be near them and able to contribute to other kids made teaching a natural fit. I was doing life on my terms. I was still getting income from my investment building. I never felt like I worked for somebody else, even when I did, because I was showing up on purpose with a heart, a vision, and a reason. The bonus came when, because I was a teacher, we all had the entire summer off. We were on the same schedule, so I had the summer off. Christmas vacation, spring break. When I was running the store, I didn't take a vacation for 14 years. Now I had the income and time with my kids, so we could go play. We could travel. One summer, we went across the United States visiting all the historical sites. We would read about the Amish and then go see where they lived and learn even more. The culmination of our trip across the country was going to Epcot Center and feeling like we saw the rest of the world. We would study another culture and then go learn about it at Epcot. It wasn't all rides and Mickey Mouse at Disney World. Applying the Boots formula to lifestyle design. Using the Boots formula, you can go from being stuck, saying yes to everyone, to becoming the woman you want to be. Being. Designing your life starts with the first step. Who are you being? That is going to be different for everybody, and once you've done some assessments to find your temperament, talents, and truth, you can look at how you are different from anybody else. Who are you going to be when you show up now? Who do you need to be to truly be the best version of yourself? How are you going to live your essence and truth? You may have a whole life set up around something that is not true to who you are. Now that you are redesigning your life, whether this is your difficult situation or you're doing so after making it through another rock bottom situation, the gift is being able to set a new foundation, but that means knowing who you're going to be. Orientation. With this orientation, you need to say, this is where I am, and this is what I want. What do you want your life to look like in a year? What do you want it to look like in 5 years? Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but they underestimate what can be done in 5 years. This is a complete lifestyle redesign. You're not just switching one thing or dealing with one emergency situation. You're reconfiguring every system in your life. Order of operations. The first step in the order of operations is to figure out your first priority. If you could just do one thing today that would make everything else easier and make you feel really happy, what would that be? Giving yourself the time you need to think about and do this one thing will make you feel like you took care of yourself, and your whole day will be better. Give yourself those little things, and they might be different each day. They build up, and when you consistently do the first thing you added, you can then add more things, and those build up too. Take it in order of priority. You may need to adjust your relationship or get out of a career that doesn't serve you. That takes time. You're not going to make this choice and then be in the exact life you desire the next day. There are steps in between. If you're not good at the steps, you may want to have somebody help you through that. You may be really great at seeing the vision, but you're not sure how to unravel all those pieces. Or you may be able to see little pieces, but you're not quite clear on the vision. You may need to give yourself a little bit more time than you think. If you make a 1-year plan and a 5-year plan, it may feel like nothing is changing at first. It's subtle. But once you start building, you get to a point where it gets easy. And the fact that you're not waiting to live your life on your terms is so beautiful and freeing and such a wonderful gift to yourself that you won't care if it does take 5 years to get the whole vision of what you want because you're already living it now. You're not giving that happiness to any other person, situation, or thing. It could be that you're in your career still, and you're going to switch over slowly, but how can you incorporate your true essence, talents, and truth in what you're doing today? Can you volunteer or start a side business so that you're actually having that happiness and fulfillment now instead of waiting for a future perfect moment in time? Thinking. Thinking is your mindset. It's setting your intention, and with that comes gratitude. If you're starting over and rebuilding, but your budget doesn't allow for the fancy house or new car that you want, or if you can't start your desired career tomorrow, how can you adjust your mindset and be grateful for what you do have? How can your way of thinking guide you to enjoy where you are now? Your environment matters. Not just the furniture and the decorations, but the energy that fills it. The energy, positive or negative, comes from the people around you, how the objects you surround yourself with make you feel, and the words and images you expose yourself to on the radio, television, and internet. How are you setting up your home? How are you setting up your environment? If you have stress in your office or home, what can you do to shift away from that negative energy? I went to the nail salon, and the news was blaring on the TV, full of war and death and horrible things. I don't want to be bombarded by that negative energy when I'm trying to relax. I know these things happen. I read the news and keep up with current events. But when I'm trying to rejuvenate and take care of myself, I don't want to see those vivid pictures that leave me feeling drained. I have friends, though, who love the news and can't work without it on. Where can you create a sanctuary in your home? Sometimes just removing the television from your bedroom switches the whole energy. It could be as simple as moving things around to create a sacred space in your house where you can have that thinking time to draw, journal, or write your life vision. You can design an intentional lifestyle that supports your individual rhythms. Once you see it and think it, start acting as if you already have it. You're going to live your best life today in gratitude. You're going to stop waiting to live. As you design your life, you're already in a better mindset. Stepping up. Stepping up is your action step. You are redesigning your life, so you're going to be different. Maybe you recreate your image and go get a haircut, color your hair, or change the way you dress. Maybe you redecorate your house or office. Maybe you are still working at your old career, but you start doing volunteer work related to your passion. Whatever it is, just show up and do it. No waiting. Start small, but step into that new thing. My friend Ellen rode horses for many years but stopped after she had children. I can't afford it, she told me. So we looked at how to make it happen. I asked her, where's the closest place you can go? What options do you have? After contacting a stable, Ellen started going to groom the horses once a week. just to connect. Then she was able to trade grooming and cleaning for writing time. Eventually, she started teaching. Opportunities present themselves, but she had to physically be there to find them. She had to step into it. There was a way. There's always a way to step into doing it, even if it's volunteering. If you want to get into shape, go take or teach the classes. Work out with a fitness video on YouTube. If you want to meet new people, go to social events like book clubs or community cleanups. You're not going to meet them at home. If you want to change your image and have people view you differently, mix up your outfits or change something about you as part of your redesign so your appearance is more in alignment with who you want to show up as. Have you ever noticed that when you dress up nicely, you show up differently? You feel better even if the situation is the same? The only thing you changed is how you show up. Be grateful for what you have and step into what you want, even if it's just for today. Tomorrow is going to get a little better, one step at a time. Moment of empowerment. Find the gift in your situation. This is the perfect time to reinvent or redesign your life. A difficult, terrible situation has happened, but now your new life is ready, and there was a gift in your rock bottom. Once you find the gift in a situation, your problems start to dissolve. It's like magic. The silver lining in the cloud is that now you get to redesign your life. Life has its ups and downs. Situations happen that we wish wouldn't, but when they do, we're left with a clean slate. We're starting over. Starting over is such a gift. Yes, we went through hell. You didn't want to go through that stuff. You didn't want to have a serious illness, get divorced, file bankruptcy, or have a loved one die. It was hard, but it served a purpose, and now you get to design your perfect life, your vision, and live on your own terms. Sometimes in the storm, in chaos, as you start redesigning your life, even if you're still healing or transitioning, you're pulled out of that situation a little faster because you know where you're going. Even if your situation wasn't in your control, you still get the gift of the opportunity to re-examine your life. When you're going through chaos, it's empowering to find the calm in the center of the storm. If you get centered and see where you're going and start to design your life, then you can have more calm even though you still have to finish walking through that storm. Knowing that it's really tough right now, but that shift is never going to happen again, or if it does, you're going to be ready, gives you hope. When hope shows up in your life, you reach a higher level of energy and vibrational frequency. When you have hope, you're not in survival mode anymore, and you use that hope to live the life you want to live. Prioritizing yourself makes a night and day difference. Stepping away from the rock bottom situation allows you to clear your head and refocus, giving you the clarity to see some really good solutions because you're not focused on the negative and your to-do list. Once you're relaxed, you'll see clearly what you need to do. Then later, you look back and see that you redirected how you were living your life. You got healthier and happier. You started doing all the things you had always wanted to do but kept putting off until someday. You show up in gratitude and receive all that love energy. That positive love energy clears the way for your new life. Give yourself permission to receive it and then give back the gift of gratitude. The biggest healing comes from self-love. Say yes to yourself and to what your heart really desires. Activity. Design your dream week. Sometimes we wish for the perfect week, a week straight out of a dream, one where only the best version of you shows up. You go to sleep on time. You wake up feeling refreshed. You follow your healthy routine, take time for your wellness, and have amazing quality time with the person you're in a relationship with, your children or your pets. You even get around to making those calls that keep getting pushed farther and farther down your list. Sounds perfect, doesn't it? A week like that is magic. You're able to do it all. At the end of every day, you sleep soundly, content in knowing that you got all of the magic juice out of each day. You showed up as your personal best. You may not have gotten absolutely everything done, but you feel proud of doing everything you could do. And you know that you're going to have another day tomorrow that will be aligned to your values and vision and your mission in life. Days like that are easy. They don't feel like work. You have joy and pleasure in everything you do because you have that bright energy and purpose to your day. Sound too good to be true? It's not, and I'm going to show you how. 1. The first step is to get out a piece of paper and something to write with, your favorite pen or pencil if you have one. 2. At the top of the paper write, My Aligned Week. 3. Down the left side, divide your paper into 7 rows, 1 for each day of the week. 4. Across the top of your paper, create 6 columns and label them Family Life, Business, Social Life, Self-Care/Spirituality, Hobbies/Activities, and Purpose/Contribution. Make sure these topics are aligned with your ideal week, and if they're not, change them to reflect what's most important to you. At this point, your paper will look something like this. My Aligned Week. Across the top, you'll have 7 columns titled Days of the Week. Second column would be Family Life. Third column, Business. Fourth column, Social Life. Fifth column is Self-Care, Spirituality. Next column is Hobbies and Activities, and then your 7th column is Purpose and Contribution. And then going down, you're going to have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 5. Then, for each of these categories, fill in what's going to happen and on which day or days of the week. Maybe you want to have an hour every day with your children or spouse or taking the dog for a walk. Write it under Family Life on all 7 days. How many hours a week are you putting into your career? Or if you're retired, your volunteer work. Those go under the business heading Monday through Friday, or whatever days work for you. Maybe you have a morning routine of meditation, yoga, prayer, or religious study. Fill in those days under self-care and spirituality. This is your perfect week, and you get to design it any way you'd like. 6. Because this is your dream week, you can also add to it. Let's say you've always wanted to start a side gig business or volunteer for the Humane Society or the Red Cross. In your perfect week, you get to do whatever you've always wanted to do but have never done. Maybe you do it for 3 hours that week, maybe every day. It could even just be 20 minutes of sketching in a business plan. In a perfect world where everything's aligned, how much time would you give to that passion and purpose business? If you want to improve something you're already doing, what would it take? A class once or twice a week? Online training? Fill in those dreams. 7. For each of the activities you are filling your dream week with, go back and also fill in how much time you'd like to spend on each one. Maybe you'd love to spend 4 hours every Sunday with family and friends. Your perfect week includes going to brunch and having fun, just playing. Put that in there. 8. You have this piece of paper, and it has these days and times and things you want to do in your perfect week. Now what? Well, The final step is to count up all the hours you listed. We all have 168 hours in our week. Subtract however many hours of sleep you need. Even if you dream of sleeping 9 hours a night, that still leaves you with 105 hours to fill with your responsibilities and your dreams. See where you actually have the hours in your week to make at least some of your perfect week come true. Maybe you can make 80 or 90% of it work. Maybe you have to cut back on some and make adjustments, but what I want you to realize is that you can start living what you consider to be your dream week. By next week, you could be living your dream. You could start today. What are you waiting for? You will find other resources for lifestyle design in the resource section of this book, and the most current updates can be found on my website. My goal is to make sure that as you truly design the rest of your life on your terms, you can connect to as many resources as possible. My gift to you. As you go from rock bottom to back into action, there will be times when you have shown up for everyone else and you are now ready to reinvent your life and need perspective on your situation. I want to show up for you, to ask me a reboot question and receive a free gift of 4 weekly emails to help you through the lifestyle reboot process. Go to www.dearsheila.com. Please use a pseudonym and your favorite location so your question may be shared on the newsletter and help others.
If you are just tuning in, this is NBC's Sheila Mack Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and I have a special free gift announcement for you. That's right. Get a free introduction to the Boots formula and meditation by joining our email list for business leaders, busy moms, and rock stars like you. To get your free gift, just go to www.sheilamack.com/free gift. That's right, sheilamack.com/free gift for your gift today.
Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mack's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.sheilamack.com today.
Thank you for tuning in to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest, where we share real situations with real solutions to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack. I'm giving you some homework. Grab a copy of my bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, to learn the formula to go from rock bottom and back into action in any situation. If you have a burning question for the show, send it in to www.dearsheila.com. Tune in again Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.